Okay guys, so from this video on we're going to start on modifying the DOM, and first thing we're going to do is add something to the DOM and then we're going to remove it. So let's type in here a comment. Actually, let me create a new file. Let's maybe 05 modifying the DOM. Okay, .js, and as I said, we're going to create new element and actually add it to the DOM and then remove element. From the DOM. Okay, so let's start up with creating elements. So I think this is going to be a two-part video. Yeah, so first of all, we're going to start creating elements. And let's create a const. Let's call it li, and we're going to assign it to the document. And this time we're going to use create. As you can see, we have attribute, comment, and we have element. Okay, so we're going to create an element and we're going to create now a li. Okay, now we could already console log this li. As you can see, we have nothing. Now let's first of all start adding a class. How do we do that? Let's type in here comment add class to new element. So you always saw this. So if we take our const li and we say class name and we get the name of, let's say, new list item. I'm just going to take this console log of the li and paste it down here. Oh yeah, and actually we should have this in our app, and now we'll see what we're doing. Okay, so we console logged it. Let's hit save again. There's our li with nothing in it. So if we now add a class to it and we console log it, we can see we have the li with the class of new list item. Now let's also add id to new item, new element, and we know already how we do this. So dot id, so we take our li dot id and let's call this new. I like to name my id with capital, so new id. Okay, there we go. Now we already have with console log, we see we have also the id of new id. Now we could also add a attribute to it. So typing a comment, add attribute to new element, and we're going to select our li dot set attribute this time, so not create or add, but set attribute. And this is a two-parter. So first of all, we have to give the attribute a name and then a value. So let's just say we're going to add a title. Okay, and it should be new let's say item. Okay, so now we check it out. We added a attribute, a title attribute, and it has the name of new item. Okay, if I would type in here, let's say, actually we're going to add something later on. So let's create, for example, a text node and add it to it. But this time we're going to use something else, not add, not set, but append. So let's type in here, create text node. And you can actually type in append to new element. So check this out. This is how it's done. Li append child Okay, and now we're going to select document dot create text node. Okay, and now we're going to type in here what we want to create. So let's type in here new text node. As you can see, we added this li, this text in our li, this text node. Okay, now we could take this li because now it's just somewhere in the document, and we could append it to some specific UL. So let's say we're going to take document. Let me actually type in the comment first of all. Append li as child to UL. So we're going to use a document dot query selector, and we're going to select our UL, and from this I'm going to select a single selector selectors class. Okay, so if I would, let me actually add it to a variable. So let append is equal to, if I would console log also this append, so we can see what we selected. Okay, so we selected this UL, okay? And to this UL, I'm going to append now this li. So either I do it here, let's say append child, and now it's waiting for node, and I'm just going to type in our new li, because this is the only thing that we have in here. So as soon as I hit save, now you can see a new text node. This text node that we created is added to the single element selectors. We could also take this out. Okay, cut it out. If I hit save, it's gone. And I could take this append. It's actually just this variable, and say dot append. Actually, I have it on in my Ctrl S, so append this, and there we go. Now it's added. So this is pretty easy, isn't it? Now let's try and adding a checkbox. So let's just say I'm going to take this out. No longer need this console log. Let's type in another comment. Create a checkbox. So let's say const checkbox, and we're going to grab on from the document and create element again. And we're going to create a input. Okay, so we just created the input. Let's actually let console log it. Let me take you out. Not here, but here. Okay, and let's hit save, and let's console log our checkbox down here. Okay, so there's our input that we just created. Actually, I'm going to comment out this console log. We don't want to see our li anymore. So let's go down here, and let's set a few things. So a input normally has an attribute, okay? So let's say checkbox. So use a capital B here. Okay, so checkbox, and let's set attribute, and we want to set the attribute of a type comma, and the type will be, oh come on, there we go, a checkbox. Okay, so as soon as I hit save, we get an error because let me check check was not defined. Okay, because I'm console logging the wrong one. There we go. So we created the input, and now we have a type of checkbox, and it's nowhere. So let's also give this a ID. So let's grab onto the checkbox again, and let's say .id, and let's give this a ID of check. Okay, so it already has an ID. Now let's append it to that li that we created. So now I'm going to take the console log and comment it back in, so we can see our li. So it's here. Now let's take this input and append it to it. So we're going to grab onto the li dot append child, and we're going to type in here the checkbox we created. Okay. Now as you can see, if we console log our li, we also have our checkbox in it. So if I take out this console log and hit save, we're only console logging our checkbox, and it's actually here. It's also working.